All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and welcome back. Today we will be looking at IELTS writing task 1. So for IELTS writing, you have the task 1 and task 2. This is task 1 for academic, okay? So if you are taking general, IELTS general, your task 1 is quite different from this. IELTS academic task 1 deals with statistics, charts, diagrams, and um, yeah, maths. Okay, so those are part of IELTS academic test writing part one. However, if you are taking IELTS general, you'll be asked to probably write a letter. Okay, and that'll be covered in a different section or video. So today we'll be looking at our writing task. We'll be looking at our writing task and writing task one. There are certain things that are part that you have to know. Okay, yeah, and we will treat them. So as I said earlier, we'll be looking at the question types in IELTS academic tax one, and this includes statistical diagrams, and it can take a form of a bar chart, a histogram. So there's a difference between a histogram and a bar chart, okay, and pie chart and a line graph. But don't worry much about the difference between the bar chart and histogram because your ability to tease out the relevant part of the chart and write is the most relevant aspect of writing tax one. Alright, so there are also maps. They can give you plans, as in the plan of a building, floor, or any other thing. You can be given that, and you can also be given a diagram. Okay, where you have a diagram to just describe. Alright, can do that. There are also process diagrams, okay, and these are categorized into man-made process diagrams and natural diagrams. So diagrams where, let's say, you come to find out that you have to describe something about a production of, let's say, cement. Okay, such a diagram is a man-made diagram. However, if you have uh, another diagram which is talking about a life cycle of, let's say, a mosquito, and you have to describe that, that one is a natural diagram. Okay, so let's take a look at the overall structure of writing tax one academic. Okay, writing tax one academic, and it's quite simple and straightforward. Writing tax one should ideally, you should get 4 paragraphs out of it. Okay, and out of these 4 paragraphs, you're supposed to have the first paragraph being an introduction. The introduction encompasses the paraphrase of the question. Paragraph 2 is the overview. The overview is the part where you can group the diagram or the diagrams that you have been given into 2 parts or on the basis of 2 features, and you do what you report on them in your third and fourth paragraphs, which are your what, your body paragraphs. Okay, so there are certain instances where um, you end up getting 5 paragraphs for writing tax one, and that would be an additional body paragraph. Okay, there are certain tasks that will be you'll be given, and there's nothing that you can do to divide it into two unless you divide the entire thing into three. Okay, and you have to report on each matter within a specific paragraph. Okay, but they are quite uncommon. Okay, so let's focus on the 4 paragraphs because that's what IELTS loves to bring most often. All right, so let's take a look at certain things that you have to know when you are writing IELTS tax one. Okay, especially with the statistical diagrams where you have words and percentages and all that. Okay, so the first one is you can use this approach whenever you are writing. You write numbers, okay? When you are writing numbers from 1 to 9, please spell them. So if let's say um, uh, a specific parameter of a variable is, let's say, 8%, okay? So when you're writing the 8%, you don't write 8 as in a figure and you write the percent. No, okay? You don't do that. It's a style of writing, and with that style you write 1 to 9 in words. Okay, so just spell them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, just do that and add whatever the unit of measurement is, okay, to it. Now when we get to 10 forward, every single number that comes after 10, you can write it as a figure. You are free to write every single figure that comes after 10 as a figure, and you can add a percentage to it. Okay, that one is also acceptable. So just get used to these two and it will help you a lot. All right, so there are certain things that you have to know which may help you in case you are writing and you find out that you are getting limited words. Okay, so you can write the a specific number in, let's say, words, and you write the same number in parentheses next to it, and IELTS will count it as part of your word count. Okay, that is just to help you boost your word count in case you find yourself writing below the 150 minimum that they are looking for. Okay, all right, so you can write the number in words and the figures next to it in parentheses. So as the example over here, you say 62% and you put a parenthesis. Okay, 62, but this is not bracket. This is not bracket. You call them parentheses. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead. IELTS always says summarize, especially the tax one. After writing the tax, they will say summarize this, summarize and report this in not less than 150 words. That's what they will say. However, some of us tend to write and report on every single thing that we find within, whether it's a graph or a chart. We tend to write everything, and that's not how they want it. They want you to report on the most relevant features, the most relevant part, the highs, the lows. Okay, those ones that are very distinctive. These are the things that they want you to report on. They don't want you writing everything. That's not the end goal of writing tax one. The goal is to summarize the most relevant parts within 150, within not less than 150 words. Okay, good. And there's one mistake that sometimes during our write up we make. Okay, so let's say you want to write a 20-year period, 8-year period, okay, 15-year period. Okay, so let's say within, you want to write something like something happened within a 40-year span. So that 40-year span period, whatever that you are writing with the word year in addition to it, okay, please make sure to bring what, a hyphen between the year and the number that precedes it. So like the example over here, you see 20-year period. Okay, it's not 20 years period. No, that's wrong English. So 8-year period, 20-year period, 50-year period. All right. So That's how you go about writing it. So whenever you want to write something like that, please be cautious not to forget the hyphen. If not, your mechanical accuracy will be marked down. Also, we like listing things, especially in tax one, where we say this and that, did that and that, respectively. You see that kind of thing. We mostly write and we love to do it. Okay. And I also love to see that. Nonetheless, there are other things that we forget, and that's a comma. Whenever you are writing this, make sure to bring a comma before the word respectively. If you are using other alternatives of the word respectively, like maybe accordingly, okay, or whatever word that you use to show that they are sequential, this one comes after the other, make sure to bring a comma before the word respectively. It's very important. Most of us don't know this, and that's one source of our inaccuracies when it comes to our mechanical errors in our write-ups. Okay, so make sure to bring it. It's very important, very relevant. All right. One thing that I have also witnessed from people's write-up is that when the charts, whether it's pie chart, bar chart, okay, when it's represented in percentages, we fail to change these percentages into fractions. And if you start reporting everything percent, this one percent, that one percent, my brother, my sister, my dear one, in fact, your writer becomes very redundant and becomes uninteresting. And the highest that you can go might be a six. And that one, yeah, they are being generous with you. I have to be very sincere with you guys. That's how it is. So you have to employ what you call variation. So your ability to turn percentages into fraction is one thing that's very relevant when it comes to IELTS writing tax one. Okay, so they have given you in percentages and you have the ability to switch. Okay, it's about 22%. So you can see a little over a fifth. It's just exactly 20%. So you see a fifth of, you understand, it's 50%, a half of. Okay, the thing is 33%. You can see a third of. You understand? Yes, that's how you go about getting this variation within your write-up, which makes your write-up lively. Not that redundancy and you are like percent all the way till you end your write-up. Okay, so let's go forward. Now, when I was talking about um, this aspect, that is summarizing. Okay, let me pick this one. Let me pick my laser pointer. When I was talking about summarizing, so how do you summarize? What are the things that you look at? What are the things that you report on? Okay, right. So you report on something that I term as has LCD. Okay, it's just something that I made up, and it's very good because everybody is having an LCD TV inside its house. So your has LCD. All right. So LCDs stand for highs, anomalies or abnormalities, similarities, lows, commonalities, and differences. Okay. So you are going to report on the highs, the lows, the similarities, the anomalies, the commonalities, and the differences. So these are the things that you focus on. So if you focus on these, you tend to report on the most relevant stars and just throw out the rest. I also will not mark you down for throwing some of the irrelevant parts of their um, question away. Okay, so make sure that you hit on the most relevant ones and you get all the marks that you need. Okay, now there are certain things that need to be included. Okay, And I think you might be well aware of these conjunctive adverbs. Okay, something like furthermore, just to go ahead, maybe opening a paragraph or adding more information. Therefore, okay, making an inference. I'm also adding more information. Um, However, you want to contrast. Nonetheless, you want to contrast. Nevertheless, you want to contrast. And the word interestingly. Okay, this interestingly over here, ladies and gentlemen, is one thing that we use. Okay, something that we use. Interestingly, interestingly. It's one thing that we use when we want to write an anomaly. Okay, an anomaly. This one, we'll be going through the chart and we find that something is abnormal within the chart. Okay, so if you want to report on it, we just say, interestingly, this happened. Okay, interestingly, this happened. Meanwhile, you can see even though all of them are moving in one side, interestingly, something happened, which is quite uncommon. And when we start dealing with all the question type, that's the statistical and the others. Okay, when you start dealing with them, we go through sequential ways of writing, and you know how to use the word interestingly whenever you want to use it within your write up. And it's also as variation. It shows the examiner that you know what you are writing, and on top you are able to identify things that are quite uncommon and abnormal within the task that you were given, or the chart that you have been given. All right. So just take care of that together with these conjunctive adverbs. They are not limited. There are a lot more out there that you get to know. And these are the adverbs that you use for, mostly you can use it for your statistical diagrams. However, when it gets to writing for, let's say, a process, okay, you will come across other adverbs such as thereafter. Okay, so everyone and or each of these has its own use, so you have to know where to use it. All right, so I didn't include them over here. When I'm whenever the other video comes, okay, you'll get to know how to use those thereafter, eventually, and all that. Okay, yeah, so there are other words that we can also use for sure. Most often when it gets to paraphrasing of the question, you see the question will come in an active voice. In an active voice means, okay, the subject, they say the chart shows, okay, the subject is the chart is showing something, okay. So right now you want to change the word shows to something, or the chart show, you want to change that show to something else, and we can use, yeah, illustrate, reveals, okay, demonstrate, all right. And there's also events, okay, it's quite uncommon, but that's what it means, events. And you can utilize it to your best whenever you want to write your paraphrase of the question. Mostly it comes in an active form, and it's very good whenever you change to the active to the passive voice. It really helps. All right, so the other words for respectively, as I said earlier, so you can use accordingly, you can use correspondingly, and you can use consecutively. All right, so they are coming in sequential order. All right, so these are words that you can use in addition. Okay, so let's take a look at language of estimation. You see, you'll be writing, and you look at the chart, and you know that the chart is, let's say, 48%. Okay, so with this, you need a language of estimation to help you in describing whatever that you want to describe in your write-up. So let's talk about the word approximately. Okay, approximately. So you can say approximately a half into bracket, then you write 48%. Okay, So you are estimating that almost a half, about a half, right? You can use approximately a half, and you are good to go. You have estimated that it's close to what a half, and that's very good language. Okay. Now there are other words that we use for this estimation kind of thing. You can say just about. So just about a third, probably. That let's say the percentage that they gave is 31%. So just about a third. So close to a third, kind of. And also more than, can use less than, almost, around, about, just over, and nearly. Okay. These are not the limited version of these kind of language of estimation. There are a whole lot out there. However, if you're able to master these and use them effectively, the word is effectively within your write-ups. Trust me, your 7 will be there for you. And that's the challenge for most people. They are to write and they'll end up with 6, 6.5. They can't jump. Okay. If you are utilizing these effectively, trust me, you jump over the 7 and that will be hooray for you. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the last part of this, which is certain things that you need to note. That's how to convert your percentages to fractions. Okay. So these are examples over there. So let's say you have 75%. 75% is an exact three quarter of something. So if you're having 77%, you can say you can use this language of approximations, or yeah, language of estimation, together with your what, your fractions that you have converted. Okay, so 77%, you just say just over a quarter, approximately three quarters, like just over three quarters. Okay, just under a half, 49%, nearly a half. Okay, so you see how this thing has been used. Just employ them within your write-up. Employ them. Make sure you are using them. Okay, IELTS doesn't care whether you know it and you didn't use it. The fact is that so far as you didn't use it within your write-up, they don't care. They know that you didn't use it, therefore you don't know it. So you are utilizing, you are making sure that you are learning it and you are applying it within your write-up. Okay, and that's what will get you the score that you need. Okay, and this writing tax 1, which is about 33% of your writing score. However, it's very relevant if you want to get a 7. Okay, and I will entreat you guys that whenever you are writing your writing tax 1 and tax 2, please write tax 1 and finish before you go to write tax 2. Ladies and gentlemen, I know what I'm saying. Okay, so please write tax 1 before you write tax 2, and I'll give you a reason why. Tax 1 is self-limiting. Okay, tax 1 only have 4 paragraphs, and the 4 paragraphs is very easy to write those 4 paragraphs. You don't get to um, expand with your own ideas. The thing is there that you are looking. You look, you describe, you write those the descriptive language, and when you are done describing the most relevant parts, you are done. My brother, my sister, you are just done. So you don't need to be thinking that, oh, I could have added this, I could have changed this to that. Okay, you don't need to think too much whenever you are writing this tax 1. Okay, the things are there already. You look and you write. It becomes very easy. It becomes very easy. I've taken the IELTS test myself, and I tell you, even with my writing tax, when it goes to my writing tax, I went out to read it. I came back and I had 57 minutes more. And trust me, I finished about 3 minutes more before the end of the 1 hour. So you can do it. You can do it. I finished up my tax 1. I went ahead and I wrote the tax 2. Okay. So it's doable. So don't let anybody scare you that you you can't do it. you can do it. Start task one, write, finish. When you are writing and you get to the end, you are done. You are moving to task two. You write it. That one, task two, contains, it's more of you are writing your views, your ideas, and you are expanding them. So if you don't take care, task two, and you start with task two may take your time, may take or may eat into your tax one time. And before you realize, you are spending like 45 minutes on tax two alone, and you have about 15 minutes to write tax one, and you end up not giving a quality writer for your tax one, and that will affect your score dearly. Okay, so this is where the introductory video to tax one will end. That's academic tax one. Going forward, we will look at the statistical diagrams and how to write them sequentially and nicely. All right. So thank you and have a good day.